Hello everyone, and welcome to the first video on my new channel, the Rift Blast. For those unfamiliar with my content otherwise, I am typically a One Piece content creator on my channel Atom Blast, which you'll see linked in the description. But I have been really enjoying Riftbound and been playing a little bit on my channel, my old channel for Riftbound, but I've decided to kind of branch it off, Riftbound content off into its own channel. So that is where we're at now here on Rift Blast. I'm going to be doing a box opening here, and I hope to do on this channel videos, both box openings, some gameplay videos, theory discussion, that sort of thing, or whatever, for the Riftbound card game. If you're interested in One Piece content, definitely make sure you check out my other channel as well. And if you're here just for Riftbound, I do have some videos over there in a playlist on that previous channel, which is all my my old videos that I would recommend you guys check out if you're interested. In particular, there is another box opening video that just preceded this one that is a companion video to this one. All right, but getting into just the pack opening, and rather than belabor it any further, let's hop in. So introductions to me, because this is the first for the new channel. I have been a trading card game player for a good number of years now. I think I started more seriously playing trading card games back in 2015, I want to say, with Magic the Gathering. And then I caught wind of the One Piece card game before it came out, participated in the super pre-release over there, and have been doing a lot of content for that game since then. And now that Riftbound has come out, I've been enjoying it quite a bit, and really wanted to kind of make content for Riftbound as well. So that's where this channel comes from. I typically will post videos that are hand cam videos, and then theory videos and other discussion videos about kind of the state of the game and everything like that. And so I already do those things for One Piece, and now I'll just bring my camera with me and record for Nexus Nights as well. And then maybe if I do skirmishes or anything, I'll be recording for those too. So you can expect some number of videos, usually 3 or 4, hand cam videos a week, and then a couple theory videos or stuff like that as well in between. So if you're interested in that, make sure you subscribe here, and you'll be caught up to date with all of my different exploits and stuff like that. As far as a player, I like to play a little bit that's off meta, just a little bit, not crazy off meta. I do like to win, and it is something that I strive for, is to play well and play tight and be able to kind of produce some good gameplay videos for the games that I play. So if any of that sounds interesting, I'd love to have you along for the journey. So I guess going into Riftbound specific stuff, now that Spiritforged has just come out, I am looking to play the Miracle package, but I don't think I'm the kind of player who's cut out for specifically Draven. So I'll be testing around with some of the other flavors of the Miracle deck. I think I'm starting with a Jinx deck that will focus on the Miracle package, plus Jinx and the purple Jinx Doran's Ring combo as a way to kind of bridge the gap and get a lot of my points, and then use the Miracle package to kind of set up for an end game where I can actually finish out the game through kind of some interaction. But that's kind of the idea. Going with Jinx is kind of intentional, because I do like playing kind of off meta stuff that can make my opponents think when they're playing. That's one of the things that I really do enjoy, is when both players are really engaged in the game and thinking through what their plays are, and really trying to get the most out of the game from a kind of sorting out the puzzle sort of perspective. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'll say it, I guess, once again. This is the first video on the channel. I might as well try to advertise for it. But if any of this stuff I'm talking about sounds interesting to you, definitely feel free to check out the rest of my videos either on this channel or on my other channel. And if it's to your liking, we'd love to have you along for the journey. So just so that I don't ramble too much longer about myself, let's talk about some of these cards we're opening. Perfect timing to open up one of my first epics here. We have the signature spell for Jax. Jax is an interesting one. I haven't seen a whole lot of videos on it, but I have heard people rumbling in the background about how much they like the deck. Green and purple is already a kind of known entity as a strong color pair. We have Master Yi, and while less outright powerful, I do think that Lee Sin is kind of slept on. Maybe not in the sense that it's going to be crushing the meta anytime soon, but I do think that it's a very viable deck, just kind of outshone by Master Yi. But that said, I do think that the green and orange color pair is a very good mid-range color pair. So having it for Jax as well, I think is a good place to start for a leader. I think it is definitely a very interactive and kind of win off of your own plays sorts of color pair, because orange and green can both reward you. You have your green for protecting your stuff, and you get rewarded for kind of navigating into a point where you have the answers to whatever they're playing. And then the orange has a lot of kind of like, how do I say this? It has a lot of kind of combo style stuff where you're really rewarded for getting your sequencing right, getting a buff on something to give it protection from something else, to make it win a combat over here. There's just a lot to like about orange, I think. And that's probably one of the reasons why I will try out Fiora at some point. Just because I do think that that's a really interesting style of play to kind of engage with. And so definitely something that kind of interests me. Moving on to what other stuff we've opened so far. I'm trying to think. I haven't pulled as much good stuff here. We're about halfway through this box, so we've got plenty of time to go pull something interesting. This is what I mean with green just having really strong cards. It has that kind of puts the onus on your opponent to play into you. Deflect on a 4/4 that's just a really efficient thing, and even if it's not impressive and not necessarily winning any awards for being really deep, it's just the kind of card that rewards you for finding those locations where your opponent can't profitably push into you. Here we have our next epic here. We have Ornn. This is one that I'm not as familiar with. I think this is not the one that they usually run. He is a 5 cost 5 might 1 green power with when you play me or when I hold, look at the top 4 of your main deck. You may reveal a gear from among them and draw it, and then recycle the rest. Okay, so that's pretty decent. That's some card advantage on a thing. I think I understand why it is not the one that's getting played. The blue one, having Deflect 2, is really important for the play style you're going for. But I do wonder if there isn't something for this one to see play in another deck. Having access to gear, the gear you need, in kind of drawing into it can be really important, especially the decks are pretty small in Riftbound. So going 4 deep, that's 10% of your deck that you're getting to look through to try to find a particular card. And that's actually pretty good. Here we have our first alt art here, tokens enter ready. That's actually pretty interesting for Renata. Being able to have your treasures or your golds in the end of the game enter ready means that they'll be able to tap for energy and for power right away, which is actually pretty strong. I think that that's a pretty reasonable place to find yourself when you're playing Renata. The tough part with Renata obviously is getting to the end game where those her ability turns on. So definitely still a tough leader to make work. But I do think that that's a pretty strong ability and a pretty nice alt art at the end of the day to get to go with it. This will make, and if you've watched my other video, you saw me pull 2 of these Dravens, and now we have a third. We have a full playset of these Dravens now, which means if I ever want to play those Draven decks, I will have plenty of copies of him. He's such an efficient card. It makes sense why they would run the red one over the purple one, just because it's such a good backup plan if you haven't drawn super well. And this game definitely is a tough one. If you draw particularly poorly, having a good backup in your chosen champion zone can be super important. Okay, and we got Calm Rune. So next pull here, I guess. Let's put that one off to that side. So far, let me actually put him here. He's not all that impressive, even if he is a very useful card. Price-wise, he probably won't be too crazy, though. What was I saying? Yeah, the Calm Runes. I do really like these runes. They're really pretty, and I would like to get a set of them, either the Nexus Knight packs or these alt arts here. The texturing on the ones out of the boxes are obviously great. Switcheroo, great card to pull. Going to be one of the more expensive rares in the set just because of how good it can be in combat. Although it is very expensive at the double purple cost, so you definitely are wanting to have that hidden to really reduce the cost on it. But super strong card at dealing with combat. Thwonk, that's another one that I'm really interested in Leona and seeing how Leona plays. I have a couple of people at my locals who I've seen play Leona, and it has been quite close. It's not usually gotten there, but it is, I can feel that there's kind of, it's on the edge of being strong. So maybe another stun card or 2, and this deck will really be in there. I also think that Thwonk is actually really strong against Draven specifically, because you can kind of deny them combats, so they don't get to draw their stuff, and make it kind of tough for them to use. The biggest downside being that stun does not work very well against the purple removal spells, meaning you'll be in a kind of a weak spot if they do have those. But in the situations where they don't have those, you can really negate a whole lot of different types of interaction with a good stun card. Riposte, another great one to play. I think I mentioned it earlier that I'm kind of interested in playing Fiora, and this should make up the full playset combined with the starter decks that I have. So looking forward to that. Let's see what else we get. Bushwhack and Punch First. So both of those are great cards. Although at different ratios, you probably want a full playset of Punch First, but you probably only ever want one Bushwhack. But when they are the card to find, they are exactly the card you want. Hard to deny either of them's raw power level. And yeah. This Altar of Memories is one that I feel like they went a little too safe on that one. I feel like it would be pretty reasonable to have this exhausted to just draw one, rather than you having to replace the card. I just feel like that would have been pretty reasonable to have just as a straight draw one. But maybe the testers have a bit of information that we don't, and maybe that is just a situation where they have figured things out more than me, for example, which is 100% reasonable. While I really like this game, am not playing as much as I could be, especially relative to some of the people who are grinding for the upcoming events. We have Las Vegas and Bologna, I think. So I'm sure there are some people who have a much better grasp on what is good in the meta, and the testers would be in that group. Another epic here, this Premonition reaction. Draw 3 is a pretty strong ability. You just have to find a way to mitigate that power, -3 power. I am sure that that is something that will come with time. Draw 3 is a huge ability, and I do think that card draw is actually really strong in this game. Actually quite similar to how One Piece was when it first came out. Card draw is very hard to come by in these games, especially early on, just because card designers have learned from other older games like Magic that card draw is near about the most important thing you can do in a card game. So you have to be careful about how you price it, because it will very easily outrun your other abilities. That's one of the reasons why Draven is just so on its face strong and people are really sure that it would be good, is because card draw is near about the best thing you can do in a card game. And being able to get it for such little investment relative to your opponents, I think is really really makes it interesting that they did not identify it, or maybe they did. They did not think it was problematic. I think we have seen that it is easier to play around than people have given, than the Doomsayers would say. I do think that people are definitely learning, and we've seen in China a lot less people topping with the Draven the more weeks they go on. So I do think there is definitely some counterplay to it. It's just a matter of figuring out the correct ratio, and at the end of the day, it may not be enough. It is not unheard of for these card draw style abilities to get a little bit weaker as people learn to play around them, but it still may just be the best thing to do. Why learn how to play against something when you can instead just join the easy road, especially as we get into really long tournaments like the Vegas and Bologna events will be. Why try to make it complicated for yourself? Just play what works. And I do think that Draven is going to be one of those just it works things. Got our Chase here. It's one for those coming to this channel new who haven't seen my previous stuff on Riftbound. I also run a Lux deck, and I'm really interested in the Jace combo here. So definitely glad to see my final copy of that for the playset. So I think we've only gotten one alt art. So we are expecting an alt art out of here unless I missed one. So I'm hopeful that we get it. And let's see what we get. We're coming down to the last pack here. This is an interesting one. Fiora Peerless. And then we got a red Lucian. This is just the regular art though. So I'm going to have to look through my cards and find out if I missed an alt art. that is this pack, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did and are interested in the kind of content that I am putting out, I hope you guys subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.